So for this one, you're going to want to use some sort of lotion. I use Clinique Redness Solutions. It's really great if you have like eczema or really sensitive skin like me. You're also going to want a brown liquid eyeliner. I'm using H2O Proof Wet n Wild, and it's lasted me for years, so this is a great investment. You're also going to want a couple of sizes of brushes. So I have this one that has kind of a more precise tip, and then this one that'll just like floof everything right on. And I'll show you why you're going to want both of those. Also, you need some sort of eyeshadow in some purples and then also some browns. You can pick it up at the drugstore. It really doesn't matter what you're using. Right now I'm using the Ben Nice Ultimate FX palette. But yeah, again, you can just use any, cheap dollar store stuff. It'll sell. The first step in any cosplay or makeup design thing that I'm doing is that you always want to put on lotion, because otherwise it's going to take forever to take off and your skin will die 1,000 deaths, and you just really don't want to do that. So always start with lotion before you put any makeup on your face. It makes it so much easier and it will save you a lot of trouble later. Okay, so the first real step with this is going to be with the eyeliner. This is how I do kind of like the old scars that I think that my Remus would probably have all the time. And you can pretty much choose to orient them wherever. It's good to think about where you want to put them before you start so you know like what you're doing. I like to put them as if he like clawed his own face, or maybe Sirius did it. So I'll just show you how I usually do this. And you want to make sure that you don't have too much eyeliner on your brush. You can always dip it again, but if it gets like kind of drippy, then it won't look like a line like a scar. It'll just look like you have a weird brown paint all over your face. Also, because of the way that I'm doing it, you really want to think about how fingers and claws would look when they're scratching you. So I always make two that are shorter on the sides and then one longer one, because your middle finger reaches up higher when you're scratching like that. So it kind of helps to like figure out what the motion would be to make the scars before you put them on. Alright, so you want to let that dry. Because if you start going over it with other stuff too early, then it will smudge all over your face, which is pretty nasty. Alright, so this is going to be where the eyeshadow comes into play. Now, what I have is a palette that is specifically made to look like bruises and diseases and all sorts of nasty stuff like that, which is pretty great. Again, you can also look for pretty much anything in any drugstore. They'll have enough, variety of colors and stuff. It's not that hard. Alright, so what I like to do is look at my own face, and I usually have circles under my eyes because I just don't sleep, which is not a great life choice, but, Anyway, so I feel like Remus wouldn't get a lot of sleep, especially around the full moon, which is when my cosplays usually are supposed to be taking place. So I look under my eyes, and I kind of get a look at the color of what my, natural circles are. And I'm kind of a pinkish purple right here, and so you want to match that color. Which I, thankfully, have on my beautiful palette. As you can see, right here, that's going to be the color that I put underneath, because that'll give me that really, sleepless look. So I'm going to take the wider brush and just apply some purple underneath to make it look like I've been worrying about the full moon and not getting any sleep, which I haven't. And you definitely want it to be darker up in this corner, because that's how your eyes naturally look when you're super tired. And you always want to blend out from that spot, because it really should dissipate as you're getting under your eye. Alright, so now that I look sleepless in Seattle, I'm going to move on to keep working on the scars. Now, the thing about the scars is that they look a little bit too drawn on when they're just like this, so what I like to do is layer over a little bit of eyeshadow so that it looks more like, fresh and more like a scar, rather than just like somebody took Sharpie and, got all over my face, which I'm sure happened in the Marauders dorms, but that's not really what we're going for. So what I'm going to look for is a good kind of reddish brown color, and sometimes you have to test it out on your skin to see what's going to look the best. Now we can see I have two different browns. Let's see, my lighting isn't great, but this one down here is a little bit redder and it's going to have more of a, you know, kind of irritated look, and so that's what I'm going to use. And I'm just going to follow the scars that I've already drawn on with this. But trying not to go too dark because you do want to see the original line underneath, which is kind of like the scratch itself. Alright, so as you can see it's a little bit smudged now. What I'm going to do is go get a washcloth or something and just like wipe up kind of the smudges and clean it up a little bit. Alright, as you can see I've cleaned up my lines a little bit. They're looking a lot more, you know, straight and less spread out. And what I'm going to do next is modify the under eye part because, well, it's very, very pink. I want it to be a little bit more purple and kind of dark in contrast to the rest of my face. So what I'm going to use is this smaller brush, and I'm going to take a darker purple, so this is the color that I'm using. And I'm just going to, again, go up into that area up here, where you should have a little bit of natural purple up there anyway. And I'm just going to add a little bit of kind of dynamic to there. Now again, you always want to blend it because it shouldn't look like you're drawing on your face, even though that is essentially what you're doing. Alright, and now I've got much more of that kind of, you know, low-key black eye look, which I think makes it look like you haven't slept in about a month, which is probably how Remus Lupin's life goes. Alright, last but not least, you're going to want to put on your wig. So this is my Remus wig. I've imaginatively named it Remy, and as you can see, it's just kind of feathered and messy, which I think would kind of be the Remus look. It's got some bangs here that will go over where the scars are because, you know, you don't want them to be super obvious. It's more interesting if they're like hidden behind your hair, and it'll give it more of a real look because it's all shadowed and you can't see the exact lines that have been drawn. This one is like some sort of anime wig that I bought on Amazon for $10. It's not bad quality. It's lasted me several years, so yeah, you really don't have to like go crazy with your wig purchasing. Now what I'm going to do is just get my hair back. When it was longer I would ponytail it back, but now that it's short I generally just floof it up, and then I'm going to bend over. And I kind of use the wig almost like a headband to like force my hair back. And adjust. You don't want it to like pull too far back because your hair will start coming out from under it and your forehead will look really weird. But basically, here's Remus Lupin. I'm James Teddy, aka Stop Calling Me Apollo or Gay Marauders on Tumblr, and if you'd like to keep seeing my videos about my medical transition, my cosplay skills, I'll probably vlog about when I go to Emerald City Comic Con in a couple of months, all that good stuff, then feel free to subscribe. See you next week.